The first thing I did after being reborn was to search a stinking ditch for a thick and satisfying, mutated earthworm, and then swallowed it without hesitation. Even as it writhed violently in my throat, I endured the nausea to swallow it, for the doomsday of the karma rays was coming. Everyone could potentially awaken, depending on the last thing they consumed. Some ate crocodile skin eggs and transformed into a 100-meter giant mosquito, devouring everything. Some ate fried chicken wings and awakened the phoenix bloodline, soaring across the sky, while in my previous life, I ate dried rat. I unexpectedly became a rat, hunted by all, and was finally stomped on by an unknown beast. Now, reborn, I have returned. I obtained an infinite consumption system. The stronger the object I consumed, the more energy feedback I would receive. In my previous life, this creature was just a small worm, but it would soon become a Tao Tai that devoured all things. At this moment, I looked at the glass box in front of me. Inside, a scarlet mutated worm lay, its fat body constantly wriggling like a red parasite. To become stronger through consumption, what else is there to hesitate? Just do it. I steeled my heart, rolled up my sleeves, and reached into the glass box, intending to grab the mutated worm. But the mutated worm kept wriggling, not only dragging my hand but also biting my finger. The blood in the box became thicker, and feeling the boost from fresh blood, the mutated worm became abnormally excited. Seeing this, I instantly became furious, quickly grabbed the mutated worm, and then swallowed it down in one gulp. Congratulations, host, on successfully consuming the mutated worm. The gene sequence extraction was successful. Let's see what the new sequence brings. Immediately, a tingling sensation came from my finger. Looking down, a large chunk of flesh that had been bitten off from my fingertip actually sprouted countless blood-colored threads, and in just 2 seconds, they wrapped around the wound and regrew a brand new piece of flesh. It was actually limb regeneration. In addition, I also felt a surge of tremendous power within my body. My entire being felt full of inexhaustible energy. I came before the mirror and stood still. Gazing at myself in the mirror, I was stunned once again. My original height of about 1.7 meters. Now I had grown to 1.9 meters tall, my black hair had turned into long red hair, and my gray-brown eyes had become crimson. Looking closely, I even had a few scales and wings. After carefully examining my body, I found a mouth on the palm of my right hand, like an abyss, filled with dozens of tiny, sharp fangs, identical to the breath of the previous mutated worm, capable of absorbing an enemy's blood. But this made me a little distressed. The dark turmoil hadn't even begun yet, and I had already become this. I was probably unable to go outside at all. The moment this thought arose, the unruly red hair on my head reverted to normal. The mouth on my palm also disappeared. Seeing this, my eyes widened. It was amazing. I must continue consuming. My memory holds the location of a hidden wealthy man who possesses a rare electric eel. I remember that after the darkening erupts, this rare electric eel will also exist, capable of unleashing terrifying spiritual energy. If I consume it under the restructuring of my gene sequence, I might unlock even more powerful abilities, but given my current situation, it's clearly impossible for me to meet this hidden wealthy man. Fortunately, he has a daughter, and she happens to be studying at Tsinghua Peking University. After tidying myself up, I went straight to the school. As I was about to arrive, near the school, was an abandoned park. Yan Xiaotian, the wealthy heiress, lives a very low-profile life. To avoid revealing her identity as a second-generation rich kid, she walks here every day after school before getting in a car to leave. When I arrived at the park, I just saw a beautiful figure standing not far away. The young woman carried a unique temperament, giving off an aura that kept people away. It was then, a Rolls-Royce drove up from afar, and then 3 bodyguards got out, respectfully opening the car door. Yan Xiaotian was about to get in the car and leave. I walked out from the corner, smiling, and spoke lightly to the bodyguards. Ransom? No, kidnapping. Yan Xiaotian's expression was indifferent. It seemed she didn't take me seriously. After all, these 3 bodyguards were professionals, veterans from the military. They had to go through layers of screening to become Yan Xiaotian's personal bodyguards. The leading bodyguard charged at me without saying a word. I just casually threw a punch, and the bodyguard's features contorted. He was sent flying 5 meters away without even a scream. He crashed into a big tree and lost consciousness. Yan Xiaotian widened her eyes in shock, and the remaining 2 bodyguards who wanted to attack were also stunned. Damn, being punched 5 meters away? Is this even human? I was also a little surprised. I didn't expect my strength to be so great. Then I walked to the Rolls-Royce. I tentatively kicked out with my foot, and the Rolls-Royce that looked indestructible was directly kicked 3 meters away, the entire side door severely deformed, deeply dented. The scene immediately fell silent. Yen Xiaotian's expression was stunned, and the two bodyguards were directly scared and collapsed on the ground. I didn't pay attention to the two bodyguards and went straight to Yen Xiaotian. Yen Xiaotian said in a panic, "Are you after money or me? I'll have Yen Nanji call and have him send over that rare electric eel he's collecting." One hand gives the eel, the other hand gives the person. Yen Xiaotian couldn't think straight. Her mind couldn't process it. This person went to such lengths to kidnap her, just for her father's rare electric eel? But the situation was urgent, so Yen Xiaotian could only take out her phone and call Yen Nanji. She briefly explained the current situation and my request. At the same time, in the meeting room of the Tianxing group, a middle-aged man with a stern look, after receiving the call, instantly looked like a formidable enemy. Rebellion. Someone dares to touch my Yen Nanji's daughter in Daru City. Immediately notify the military and have them send the most elite personnel to reinforce. Do it now. At the same time, call the top-level medical team in Daru City and have them bring the best equipment, and wait at the designated location, ready to deal with any emergencies. I'll be right there. After arranging all this, Yen Nanji asked the driver to drive home first and took the thin computer. "I've done as you asked. My father can be here in half an hour." I nodded. "In 2 days, a polar light will sweep across Lonstar," Chang'in said after a moment. "All creatures on Lonstar will mutate and become mutated beasts. By then, the world order will collapse, and society will fall into unprecedented chaos. That electric eel will also become a terrifying mutated beast. If you don't deal with it, your whole family will die. Believe it or not. I don't want this electric eel for nothing. In exchange, I can tell you these life-saving messages in advance. We're having a fair trade." This sounded too crazy, and Yen Xiaotian didn't speak. She just stared at me blankly, as if looking at an idiot. Yen Xiaotian shook her head. I didn't say anything more. Then I slid my right hand across my left hand, creating a cut, and then crimson blood emerged from my fingers, tearing the blood and restoring my fingers as before. The two bodyguards who saw the scene from a distance were terrified. Yen Xiaotian was also shocked on the spot. "Your family's industry and the entire Daru City, after the dark turmoil descends, various supplies will become extremely scarce. If you trust me, you can choose to follow me. I can lead you to survive. Even retail soldiers need to eat, drink, and relieve themselves. I am no exception. In this situation, going it alone is never the best choice. In this chaotic world, forming alliances is a must. The Yen family is obviously a good choice. Cooperation can lead to a win-win situation." "I understand. I will tell all this to my father and discuss it with him carefully. I will give you an answer as soon as possible." At this moment, a hurried voice came from a distance. Numerous armored vehicles stopped in front of a few people, and a middle-aged man got out of the car and walked out. Seeing the deformed old Rolls-Royce, Yen Nanji's heart sank to the bottom of the valley, but when he saw Yen Xiaotian unharmed, he breathed a long sigh of relief. I glanced at the fully armed military personnel and smiled at Yen Nanji. "Mr. Yen, have you brought what I asked for?" Yen Nanji's expression froze. "I didn't expect the person who kidnapped my daughter to be so young. Is this what you want?" Saying that, Yen Nanji threw over the briefcase. I took the briefcase and opened it, revealing a blue electric eel inside. It gave off a salty smell of the sea. Without further ado, I immediately picked up the electric eel and started to chop it. Seeing this, Yen Nanji was stunned. What the hell is going on? The military personnel were also stunned. Could it be that they had encountered a psychopath? After the electric eel was chopped, my body actually released a current. Yen Nanji's expression was shocked. "You must know that the current released by this electric eel was enough to electrocute a medium-sized tiger. Congratulations to the host. You have successfully devoured the rare electric eel, and the gene sequence extraction is successful." Immediately, my mind moved, and my original black short hair instantly turned into red long hair, and my pupils also became fiery red again. I stretched out my 10 fingers and directly condensed a blood ball, which exploded in the air. The military personnel present, upon touching the blood ball, felt a powerful current pass through their bodies, and immediately fell to the ground, fainting. Only Yen Xiaotian and Yen Nanji were unharmed. I looked back at the two women and then casually disappeared into the night, away from the dark turmoil. There's less than a day left, and I still have one last chance to devour. I must complete the devouring before the turmoil begins. At this moment, I suddenly thought that, in the zoo of Daru City, there seemed to be a special eagle, with tattoos and feathers as hard as iron, and able to emit silver light. I now have blood sense and can also control the power of lightning. I'm just lacking a means of flying. The next morning, I immediately went to the first zoo in Daru City and came to the cage where the imprisoned special golden eagle was kept, and I was shocked as soon as I arrived. I saw this golden eagle had already mutated, and its black feathers were like a sheet of sharp blades, flashing with a chilling gleam. The feathers were actually as venomous as a venomous snake, and at this moment, the golden eagle was using its sharp beak to frantically attack the iron cage. It broke out of the cage in just a moment and rushed towards me. Seeing this, my pupils contracted. The golden eagle's movements were infinitely slowed down in my eyes. The golden eagle's movements were in my eyes. Congratulations, Shoshue, success. Transformation method level 0. Elite sequence extraction successful. Immediately, my mind shifted, and suddenly a pair of 6-meter-long black wings appeared behind me. I soared directly into the sky. Suddenly, my phone rang. Yen Xiaoyan's slightly panicked voice came through. Mo Bei, something happened here. A few humanoid monsters have rushed in. Can you come over? Yen Xiaoyan's voice trembled slightly. She was clearly at a loss. I didn't even think and immediately agreed. According to the address Yen Xiaotian provided, I quickly arrived near a video warehouse. At the same time, the warehouse stored a large amount of supplies, mostly processed foods that could be preserved for a long time. Two guys with hideous faces were ecstatically looking at this scene. The boss's head is still the best. We seized this warehouse. We won't have to worry about food anymore. A guy with a pig nose and a body full of fat laughed heartily. Beside him, a 3-meter-tall man secretly followed, laughing wildly, but he gained mutated superpowers. Truly the favored child of heaven. Now we can do whatever we want. The bull-footed man's eyes gleamed as he came in front of Yen Xiaotian, rubbing his hands and smiling. Big brother, how many grades? How many grades? The pig-nosed man also chuckled. Listening to their vulgar words, Yen Xiaotian's face gradually turned pale. Yen Nanji tightly protected Yen Xiaotian behind him, frowning. Just as he was about to say something, suddenly, a big hole was smashed in the roof of the warehouse. I, like a falling meteor, directly crashed into the warehouse. Yen Xiaotian, for some reason, suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. The bull-footed man and the pig-nosed man saw that the situation was critical. I didn't expect that besides us, there would be someone who gained the favor of heaven. Kid, I advise you not to meddle. Otherwise, I didn't bother to waste words with these two trash and slapped them to death with one hand. 2 emerald shadows and the scene became a dead place. The workers, all huddled together, were stunned, forgetting to move. Those 2 monsters, I didn't expect them to be solved with just one slap. Then I walked in front of Yen Xiaotian and her father. Yen Nanji protected Yen Xiaotian behind him. How have you considered the matter from last time? Mo Bei asked after a moment of silence. If we don't choose to cooperate with you, will you eat us? I have no interest in eating people. The darkening is about to begin. What are your plans now? Hearing me say that I don't like eating people, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. If it wasn't for Mo Bei, we would already be dead. What should we do next? We'll listen to you. Yen Nanji looked at me with burning eyes. In his eyes I was like the core, hugging this thigh. It definitely won't go wrong. The darkening is about to descend. All existing order will collapse at that time. Finding a safe place to build a base is the top priority now. The security level of my villa is very high, and the building materials are also top-notch, Mo Bei said. If you don't mind, you can go there. Yen Nanji nodded in agreement. The descent, just having strong strength isn't enough. After the darkening descends, various supplies will become scarce. In the later stages, the environment will also change. The 10,000-year cold wave and the 10-year drought will appear in succession. At this time, a safe shelter becomes particularly important. After confirming, I looked at the workers who were huddled in the corner. If you want to leave, I won't stop you. If you want to stay, you can also follow me, but the darkening is far more cruel and dangerous than you can imagine. Since you've chosen to follow me, you must unconditionally obey my orders. Everyone responded in unison. Understood. Seeing this, I nodded in satisfaction. Then I called everyone to start moving into the villa. An hour later, in the villa on the hillside of Yunpan, the father and daughter were still sitting on the sofa. Young friend Mo Bei, should we continue to stockpile supplies? After all, there are so many of us. We must collect supplies. What's important is to do. The first forbidden zone is about to descend. The resources in the forbidden zone are 100 times more precious than supplies. Yen Xiaotian and Yen Nanji looked at each other. Although they didn't know exactly what the forbidden zone was, they didn't ask further. Mo Bei, you said before, if we hadn't taken that electric eel, we would all have died after the darkening. Is that true? Yen Nanji was shocked. If we could also possess such powerful strength like you, young friend Mo Bei, that would be great. After the start of the darkening, a polar aurora will sweep across Blue Star, and some people have a probability of awakening, becoming the last animal consumed before the arrival of the aurora, but the probability is random. I explained the principle, and Yen Nanji's father didn't have any hesitation and directly prepared a large amount of ingredients. Afterwards, I made them each into a group and made them eat chicken and dozens of kinds of food stewed together. The taste was naturally indescribable, but in order to become a radiant warrior, giving it to them was also without hesitation. Yen Xiaotian curiously asked, "Can it be done now?" "It can be done now. The effect can be seen tomorrow after the aurora sweeps across Blue Star. The first near-Earth will descend tomorrow. You will go with me then." Time quickly came to the next day, deep in the dark universe. A beam of blue, ghostly aurora suddenly appeared, and the speed of the other side's pressure instantly reversed the entire Blue Star. Blue Star defaulted due to the darkening, and under the irradiation of the aurora. Some animals on Blue Star appeared on one side, becoming a terrifying example. There was a stray dog whose bloodline increased its size to over 3 meters, and its eyes reflected a cold glare. It let out a beastly roar and rushed into the unprepared team, wantonly slaughtering. At this time, in the villa, Yen Xiaotian and her father, who had been uneasy all night, also felt a wave of changes in their bodies. Yen Xiaotian's whole body was wrapped in golden light, and a sunflower pattern appeared within her body, and could release golden light. Yen Nanji's height increased to 3 meters. His originally well-proportioned body was filled with muscles, and a pair of long muscle horns also grew on his forehead. Young friend Mo Bei, have we really succeeded? This feeling, this endless power, the body is so light. As if the whole world is under my control. The darkening has already arrived. The first near-Earth should also appear. Take the people and go to the near-Earth with me. We need to get some resources to strengthen ourselves. Quickly. We set off in a large truck. 2.5 hours later, we arrived at the entrance of the near-Earth. Yen Nanji also wanted to let people get out of the car and go in to explore. But I directly stepped on the accelerator and arrived. The truck directly entered the vortex. And not far away, Yen Xiaotian's dog, Li Huan, was with a group of people, looking at this scene with a strange expression, and secretly thinking, how could Mo Bei, this poor ghost, be with Yen Daxia? And he also drove into this mysterious vortex. Someone next to him suddenly asked, what should we do now? Li Huan pondered for a moment and said, the boss asked us to investigate the situation here. In the end, he dares to drive into it. We already have superpowers. And are we still afraid of a hare? In the near-Earth, it's pitch black, and there's dense fog everywhere. Above, a blood-red sun exudes a ghostly red light. At this moment, a series of ghostly roars suddenly came from the fog ahead. Everyone in the car immediately became tense. There are dark creatures in the near-Earth. You can understand them as extraterrestrial creatures. I stepped on the brakes and said to Yen Nanji, Boss Yen, you should drive. I will clear a path for you. Before Yen Nanji could react, I had already appeared on the ground. The next second, a group of strange figures wrapped in black fog rushed out of the fog. These figures were more than 2 meters tall. Although they looked human, they were clearly not normal humans. Not good. Young friend Mo Bei, although your strength is very strong, the number of the other party is too great. I must get out of the car and help you. Xiaotian, you are in charge of driving. After saying this, Yen Nanji frowned and was about to reach out to open the car door to get out. But at this moment, a dull sound rang out. Otherwise, I would raise my hand and knocked it out with a push. The 6 dark creatures in front were instantly destroyed, leaving not even a trace of blood. Yen Nanji, who was opening the car door, stared blankly. Young friend Mo Bei, he was completely dumbfounded. What about the dark creatures? They sound so powerful just from the name. But they were solved with a single slap. Yen Xiaotian's eyes gleamed as she looked at my back. I'm completely dumbfounded. What about the promised dark creatures? Just hearing the name sounds so powerful. It turned out to be solved with a single slap. Yen Xiaotian's eyes gleamed with interest as she looked at my back. A single slap shattered the dark creature, making it tremble with fear. After dealing with the dark creature in front of me, I strode forward. The dark creatures in the first instance aren't strong. Not to mention I awakened my abilities 3 days early. To deal with these dark creatures, I don't even need to suffer. Any dark creature I encounter on the road, no matter how many there are, will be killed by a single slap from me. Inside the cab, Yen Nanji and his daughter watched, as I constantly annihilated the dark creatures, Their initial shock slowly turned into numbness. Yan Nanji, with a wicked smile, looked at Yan Xiaotian. What do you think of this kid, Mo Bei? Yan Xiaotian blushed. What are you talking about? Talking nonsense? Dad is talking nonsense? You're not young anymore. It's time to find a boyfriend. Dad, didn't you always oppose me being in an early relationship? I do oppose you being in an early relationship. But then again, I feel very relieved with Mo Bei. He has not only strength but also a good reputation. He's not arrogant or impatient, and he speaks so nicely. He's a rare talent. I'm very relieved to have this kid as my son-in-law. Yan Xiaotian suddenly felt helpless. At the same time, in the mist not far behind the truck, Li Huan and his group were staring intently at this scene. When they saw me annihilating the dark creatures, everyone's hearts couldn't help but tremble. Li Huan was so angry his teeth were chattering. This bastard has also gained superpowers, and he's even stronger than me. It's so annoying. At this moment, a younger brother beside him spoke. Brother Li, what should we do now? Li Huan exhaled a cloud of smoke. Furthermore, no matter how strong this kid is, he's still human at his core. Humans will definitely have limits. He'll eventually exhaust his strength along the way. Let's follow him first, and wait until we encounter something good before we snatch it. By then, he'll be exhausted, and with 5 of us, can't we take him down? At the same time, I continued to lead the way ahead. After killing another batch of dark creatures, I sneered and released my perception. My senses are already different from ordinary people, and I've already discovered the presence of Li Huan and the others. I also saw through their intentions. Half an hour quickly passed, and I don't even know myself how many dark creatures I've killed. It's a pity that these dark creatures don't belong to the Beast clan. I would have dropped a Beast core, otherwise it would be enough for me to level up several times. Soon, the truck followed me to a platform on which were carved complex ancient patterns, still faintly flashing with red light, as if it possessed life. Seeing me suddenly stop, Yan Xiaotian looked at me. Yan Xiaotian and his daughter got out of the truck and looked up at the platform. They saw many pieces of metal shimmering with black light, emitting a gentle glow. Adamantium is an excellent building material, with a quality and density far surpassing all existing materials on Blue Star. Take all these back and reinforce the villa. Yan Nanji didn't hesitate when he heard this. He opened the back of the truck and beckoned the workers to get off and carry the items away. At the same time, in the darkness, Brother Li, that pile of black stuff doesn't look simple. Should we make a move? Li Huan was thinking the same thing, nodded and was about to speak, when suddenly a loud laugh came from not far away. 3 men and 2 women walked out of the mist, swaggering. You should have no strength left now, right? You're definitely no match for the 5 of us. After he finished speaking, one of the yellow-haired men's bodies suddenly swelled up, turning into a 3-meter-tall being. His face also turned into a pig's head, slowly walking towards us, and every step, they would make a dull sound. That pig's head was particularly hideous under the blood-red sun, and the sense of oppression was directly brought to its peak. Seeing this scene, I sneered, and a pair of black feathers instantly appeared on my back. A fish spear carrying electricity shot out of the air, and an electric sound followed. After a burst of sizzling sounds, that 6 mountain collapsed to the ground, and the yellow-haired man's companions also looked up. A woman with a non-mainstream hairstyle instinctively charged out. The dark turmoil has officially arrived, I sighed softly. Kill one. The dark turmoil has officially arrived. After he finished speaking, the black wings on my back gently flapped, and a few more feathers shot out. The remaining people hadn't even had time to cast spells. The powerful electric current was instantly released. Brother Li, should we still make a move? Everyone's faces were still fixed on me. Should we make a move? Everyone's ink inscriptions hadn't been used yet. They were still focused on me. In the shadows, everyone looked at Li Huan, whose eyes were filled with desire. Everyone was numb. Why would they attack? Didn't they see the strength of the opponent? Run. Run quickly, Li Huan said without hesitation. He turned and ran, originally planning to launch a surprise attack after the ink tablet was erected. Who could have imagined the opponent's vitality? Even after killing so many dark creatures, they could still kill instantly. They had to run, but just as Li Huan took his first step, a feather fell from the sky. It directly pierced the ground 3 miles ahead. Did I let you go? Hearing this cold voice, Li Huan and his group trembled, feeling as if they were being watched by the Grim Reaper, instantly feeling like there was a thorn in their backs. Li Huan's neck shrank, and he broke into a slight sweat. Behind him, the ink tablet fluttered in the black raincoat. It was like a demon lord slowly descending, and the huge black raincoat fluttered, dispersing even the surrounding fog. Li Huan's eyes narrowed, and a hint of desolation flashed deep within his pupils. He was finished. He seemed to have gone around in a circle. At this moment, Yan Xiaotian and the others finally reacted. They were being watched, and it wasn't just one or two people. How did Mo Bei sense it? They were also Zero Beast warriors, yet they were completely unaware. How exactly did he do it? Could it be that there were also differences among the Zero Beast warriors? What they didn't know was that there were indeed differences among the Zero Beast warriors, but Mo Bei was different from them. He had 2 more genes than the 2 women, and his senses were naturally sharper. Mo Bei, I didn't expect you to have obtained this ability as well. Congratulations. Well, it's getting late. I have to go back now. Let's get together next time, and I'll treat. Did I allow you to leave? Mo Bei felt amused. Before his rebirth, this place was the first to appear, and Li Huan was one of the first to enter and explore the area. Relying on these materials, Chao Menglong built a base with extremely high strength. Even if many Zero Beast warriors joined forces, it would be difficult to withstand the base's high-intensity defense. This misfortune persisted throughout the dark turmoil. It dissipated for a long time. He didn't expect that, after being reborn, the same plot would happen again. But this time, the building materials here probably had nothing to do with Chao Menglong. I have someone behind me. Chao Menglong is my boss, and I'm following him now. Li Huan's face turned pale, and he quickly took out his phone and dialed a number. But at the same moment the call connected, the feather in Mo Bei's hand shot out, instantly piercing Li Huan's eyebrows. There was no imagined pain, only numbness, because the moment the feather pierced his eyebrows, a powerful electric current covered Li Huan's entire body. He was stiff, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Seeing Li Huan being instantly killed, the remaining people were instantly terrified to the extreme and cried out in panic as they turned to run. But Mo Bei wouldn't give them this opportunity. Almost at the same time, the feathers mixed with electricity. Like Li Huan, everyone didn't even have time to scream before they were struck. A rough roar kept coming from the phone on the ground, which was Chao Menglong's voice. Who dares to attack my 4th brother's people? Who is it? Although he didn't know the exact situation on the scene, but hearing the screams, Chao Menglong knew that his people were taken down. Chao Menglong, who are you? You dare to touch my people? No matter who you are dead. Mo Bei still didn't reply. Chao Menglong was furious. He felt a sense of powerlessness, like punching cotton. Where is your home? Give me an address. After a moment, Mo Bei suddenly spoke. Now that we have to deal with the situation properly. I'm in the apartment near the 5-star garden. If you have the ability, come find me. I'll be waiting for you here. You don't need to provoke me. I'll come to find you when I have time. Mo Bei crushed the phone. Then he came to Yan Xiaotian and the others and asked everyone to continue transporting the resources. Yan Xiaotian and the others, they hadn't recovered from the previous situation. They originally thought Mo Bei had brought them to the area to seize it, but Mo Bei didn't need them at all. I brought you to the area just to let you experience the world under chaos. In this world, mercy towards the enemy is cruelty to oneself and those around them. Winning the 2 women. In their shocked eyes, Mo Bei suddenly asked, I killed them all. Not one left. Do you think I'm a bit cruel? Yan Xiaotian shook her head and said seriously, but they had already attacked us before. If we are inferior, the outcome will probably not be too good. Yan Nanji followed the electricity head. Before long, everyone was following the electricity head here. Before long, all the metal giants were loaded onto the truck. Everyone got back in the car and headed towards the forbidden area. On the way back, they didn't encounter anyone else, but a group of them still appeared from time to time in the mist. Dark creatures. These dark creatures are like the small monsters in the game instance. Constantly refreshing, seeing Mo Bei instantly kill all the dark creatures. Yan Nanji wanted to experience it, making a hand gesture, and saw his whole body muscles bulging high, his body size instantly growing to 3 years. The suit on his upper body was instantly torn apart. A wave of hot eyes lowered his head and rushed towards a dark creature. Sharp horns collided with the dark creature's body, and Yan Nanji was surprised to find that the other party was actually unmoved and punched the dark creature's head. But he was slow. The dark creature was faster than him, and slapped Yan Nanji in the face. Directly slapped the latter. Yan Xiaotian in the driver's seat. Her mouth was slightly open, and she was completely numb. Her own father was actually slapped by a dark creature. Mo Bei was not surprised at all. Yan Nanji himself was a pampered engine tycoon who didn't understand any fighting skills at all, and had just awakened. A retail warrior, and hadn't fully adapted to this power yet. Mo Bei wanted to take action to solve these 2 dark creatures for Yan Nanji, but was rejected by the other party. Relying on his system of resistance, Yan Nanji used a method of exchanging injuries for injuries, and exhausted the two dark creatures. When he returned to the car, he was already panting and had many wounds on his body. He lost half his life. Mo Bei, Xiao Yong, I am far inferior to you. I thought these dark creatures were easy to deal with, letting you laugh at me. Yan Anji said with a smile, having personally experienced the power of the dark creatures. He realized how awesome Mo Bei was, being able to instantly kill even when facing 6 dark creatures alone. Mo Bei just smiled and didn't speak, and soon the group drove away from the forbidden area smoothly. They returned to the villa, and Yan Nanji instructed the workers to get out of the car and unload the goods. At the same time, he arranged for people to prepare for the installation of the metal giants. Now that the dark turmoil has begun, installing these metal giants as soon as possible and turning the villa into a doomsday fortress would give them more security. The resources in the forbidden area are already in hand, we should now stockpile some supplies. Yan Nanji also nodded in agreement. Not only food, but also various supplies need to be stockpiled. Cigarettes, tools, tents, etc. The more of these supplies, the better. Yan Nanji was stunned at first, then understood what Mo Bei meant. In the doomsday period, food is of course important, but other resources are also equally important. For example, in some prisons, cigarettes are hard currency. With cigarettes, one can survive in prison. There is no regulation, and it is the same now. It is worthy of being a doomsday fortress. You are thinking more long-term than me. Mo Bei, I want to go with you too. Okay. Mo Bei didn't refuse. After taking a group of workers, he got back in the car with Yan Xiaotian and left. Watching the large truck gradually disappear, Yan Nanji's eyes were full of efficiency. Without Mo Bei's thigh, their lives would definitely take a turn for the worse. I'm afraid it would be difficult even to protect themselves. After leaving the villa, Mo Bei drove towards. The continent is the largest material warehouse. Speaking of which, this also belongs to the Tianshan group. At first, Mo Bei wanted to get some resources here, but the journey was a bit far, and he had to give up temporarily. Now I hope it's still not too late, but an accident happened shortly after starting the journey. A ferocious-looking old lady suddenly rushed out of the road and lay down in front of the truck. She held her legs, showing a painful expression, and kept wailing, muttering in her mouth. Oh, I've been hit. Everyone come and see. If you don't give me some material compensation. Mo Bei in the cab was stunned. Shall I go down and deal with it? No need. Then he stepped on the accelerator, and the truck roared, charging straight towards the old lady. The wicked are still waiting for the wicked to grind them. It's dark and chaotic, and they're still running out to touch porcelain. What is this if not courting death? After this little interlude, Mo Bei and the others arrived safely at the location of the warehouse. The security booth outside the warehouse gate was empty, and the originally sealed iron gate was also severely deformed, as if it had been forcibly damaged by external force. Someone was already ahead of us. Yan Xiaotian said. Mo Bei nodded and led Yan Xiaotian into the warehouse. The shelves, which were originally filled with various supplies, were now empty, and the huge warehouse was almost emptied. However, there were 2 people in front of them who were carrying a huge container similar to the iron box of the port terminal, which was not something ordinary people could carry. They often needed a crane to cooperate. But the 2 guys in front of them actually lifted the huge iron box. Upright, it was not difficult to see that they were not ordinary people either. The 2 of them didn't see each other for a moment. Outside the area, seeing Mo Bei and the 2 suddenly appear, they were stunned for a moment. Are you the people sent by Boss Chow to help? One of them asked. You mean Chow Menglong? Mo Bei understood immediately. It was really a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet Chow Menglong's people here. As expected, the supplies here should also be taken away by this guy. Hearing Mo Bei call Chow Menglong's name directly, the 2 of them immediately realized that Mo Bei and the 2 of them were not their own people, and immediately put down the iron box. The box fell to the ground with a dull sound. The 2 of them directly became beastified and entered combat mode. The guy in front grew a pair of fluffy ears, and 2 fangs in his mouth gradually grew. The other guy was also growing in size, turning into a mountain of flesh. The people of Longwa like to eat pork, so most people will awaken into retail soldiers related to feathers after the darkening. For example, the guy in front of him, his defense is fully maxed out. Mo Bei didn't care. Just go. The people of Longwa have already told Mo Bei the location of the base, but it's always good to be careful. Ah, run. The boss's location. Let's have a fight with me first. Today I'll let you experience my superpowers. The pig-shaped retail soldier let out a roar and started to walk towards Mo Bei. Although Yan Xiaotian had seen Mo Bei's strength and also seen the silk screen, she was still a little nervous in this situation. Mo Bei shook his head, and black wings emerged from his back. Then a feather shot out with a whoosh, the feather pierced through the mountain of flesh, and a powerful electric current kept flowing on the fat, and the next moment the mountain of flesh exploded, dead beyond death. After doing all this with ease, Mo Bei looked at the other person. Where is Chow Menglong? Don't kill me, I'll tell you everything you want to know. A pale yellow liquid in the crotch slowly dripped to the ground, and a pungent smell gradually spread. What the hell is this guy? In the Xinyun apartment next to the 5-star garden, room 288, Mo Bei held out his right hand, took off a feather, and threw it away casually. The feather was like a sword god. The man had no heart, the man's eyes widened, and he died with his eyes open. Let's go to the 5-star garden. Mo Bei put away the black raincoat, said to Yen Xiaotian, and Yen Xiaotian nodded blankly and followed behind Mo Bei. The young man in front of him was terrifyingly strong. Following him, even if he had to climb a mountain of swords and go into a sea of fire, he felt very at ease. Even though he knew that Mo Bei was going to Chow Menglong's base now, Yen Xiaotian was not afraid at all, and the two of them came out of the warehouse, got back in the car, set the navigation, and set off. Fortunately, it was only the beginning of the turmoil, and the internet and other things wouldn't be greatly affected and could still be used normally. The 5-star garden was not far from here. It took less than half an hour to arrive. On the way, Mo Bei and the others saw many supermarkets and shopping malls where smoke was billowing, and there were often waves of fighting. But Mo Bei didn't care. Dealing with Chow Menglong was the top priority now. 5-star garden. Mo Bei had just parked the car when a rough man wearing a jacket and carving a cigar came out of the apartment next door with a group of younger brothers. Are you Chow Menglong? Is it you? With Mo Bei's voice. Chow Menglong instantly recognized Mo Bei's voice. It was this bastard who killed his 5 people. He thought the other party was just saying it, but he didn't expect him to really come to his door, and judging from the other party's posture, there were only 2 people. In contrast, he had a total of 8 people, and they were all retail soldiers. Everyone get ready to fight. Kill this bastard. Whoever can kill this guy first, the grass will reward him with 3 cans of beef. As soon as Chow Menglong said this, the little brothers behind him all seemed to have taken a shot of hormones, loudly echoing. The gaze towards Mo Bei also gradually became sharp. Boom! Everyone simultaneously entered a bestial state, the characteristics of pigs, dogs, cattle, and sheep gradually appearing on them. Mo Bei, are we really okay? Although I've seen Mo Bei's strength, but the people in front of me are all beast warriors, and the momentum after bestialization is even more terrifying. Yen Xiaotian was somewhat worried, but Mo Bei didn't respond. Instead, his eyes were fixed on Chow Menglong. He didn't activate his bestial state. He was thinking maybe running away was the best option. But Mo Bei's thinking, in Chow Menglong's eyes, was a sign of weakness. He immediately burst into laughter. The mastermind! Then he took the lead and rushed out, throwing a punch at Mo Bei. Mo Bei didn't refuse at all and also threw a punch. The 2 fists collided, making a muffled sound, and many sparks splashed out. The 2 of them didn't move an inch. Just as the fists collided, Chow Menglong's arms were reshaped with fish scale-like armor. With 1 punch, my ability can condense fish scale sea armor on my arms. Seeing Mo Bei silent, Chow Menglong became even more arrogant. Offending me? You will regret it for the rest of your life. Seeing their boss so ferocious, the little brothers behind, they hurriedly shouted, Boss Chow is awesome. Kill this bastard. It seems we don't need to do anything. Boss Chow can defeat this ignorant brat. Yen Xiaotian bit her lip, a little worried. Mo Bei, however, remained expressionless. Blood flowed from the tip of his finger, suddenly condensing a ferocious electric eel. The electric eel's eyes emitted 2 bright lights, suddenly opening its blood-red mouth and biting at Chow Menglong's arm. Chow Menglong wasn't stupid. Because he had fish scales, the attack couldn't break his defense at all. But what he didn't expect was that, at the moment the electric eel bit, the sharp fangs seemed to pass through nothing, directly piercing through his fish scale sea armor and into the flesh. Then, a powerful suction force emerged, beginning to frantically absorb his blood. Chow Menglong was finally panicked. Realizing Mo Bei wasn't simple, he wanted to retreat, but Mo Bei grabbed his shoulders. Feeling the blood constantly draining from his body, Chow Menglong's face became visibly pale, and a chill gradually swept over his entire body. When the blood was sucked dry, Mo Bei felt his body recover a lot of strength, and the electric eel on his shoulder also had more blood. That's it. Yen Xiaotian was a little shocked, watching Chow Menglong get blasted by Mo Bei. This visual impact was huge. As Chow Menglong, turned into a dry corpse, fell to the ground, all of the little brothers were stunned. Their boss, who was fine a moment ago, was sucked into a dry corpse the next. What's going on? Is this person a special kind of human? Okay. This was everyone's thought at the moment. turning around and running away without resistance. Mo Bei looked forward, expressionless. The black raincoat reappeared on his back, but after absorbing Chow Menglong's blood, the black raincoat also had a touch of crimson. Next time, tree roots and feathers will simultaneously stretch out and begin to mercilessly harvest the lives of the lowly. The scene was almost a one-sided slaughter. Not long after Mo Bei successfully finished the battle, Mo Bei looked at Mo Bei. The smell of blood rushed into his nostrils, making him want to vomit, but Mo Bei knew very well. In a time of chaos, this kind of thing was normal. Looking at all of this, Mo Bei was a little surprised. She didn't expect that Mo Bei, this young lady, could endure it. It's resolved, the supplies should be in the apartment. Let everyone get out of the car and unload them. Okay. Mo Bei then opened the back of the car, beckoning the workers to get out. When everyone arrived inside the apartment, they indeed found a large amount of supplies that Chow Menglong and the others had hoarded. The workers were overjoyed, carefully carrying various supplies, for fear of bumping and damaging them. One by one, they were carefully transported out, all kinds of food and daily necessities. But in the current environment, the value of these supplies was much more valuable than gold or diamonds. To ensure everything went smoothly, Mo Bei personally oversaw the transport. But just as everyone was about to hit the road, an accident occurred. A large-sized mutated beast suddenly blocked the truck's path. This was a mutated wild dog, its body covered in fur like countless needles, its stout limbs gripping the ground, his body slightly tilted forward, blocking the front of the truck. The mutated beast was about to pounce. Mo Bei didn't waste any words. He directly opened the car door and got out. Just as Mo Bei got out of the car, from the alleys on both sides, 8 large-sized mutated beasts emerged. They all came in the guise of blue-clad stray dogs, and most of the one-handed individuals appearing in the city were disguised as various pets. These one-handed individuals planned to attack together, with Mo Bei's back having black wings. He took off into the air. The roots and feathers were clasped out, instantly piercing into the bodies of many one-handed individuals. Mo Bei then remotely hollowed out the feathers. Releasing a powerful suction, the bodies of the one-handed individuals in front of him visibly withered at a rapid pace. In just a moment they were absorbed. As for Mo Bei, he felt his body filled with power. It was as if he had completely returned to his peak, and all of Mo Bei's exhaustion had been replenished. After finishing all this, Mo Bei came to the corpses of the one-handed individuals, extending his hands to search. Finally, he fished out several transparent golden cores. These were the one-handed beast golden cores, which stored the power source of the one-handed beasts. After absorbing them, one could improve their own strength, but absorption required time, similar to smelting steel, which needed a steady approach. But Mo Bei was different. A gust of wind appeared in his palm, and he directly devoured the golden cores. A pure stream of power surged into his body, and Mo Bei's level changed. His name was Mo Bei. One-handed level 3, bloodline level 5, gene sequence number 9527. Opening the system interface, Mo Bei saw his level, which had actually risen directly to level 3. What does bloodline level mean? Why is his bloodline level currently 5? Mo Bei simply stopped thinking about it, got back in the car with Yan Xiaotian, and left, after transporting supplies 6 times. Only then was the warehouse of the villa almost filled. Seeing these supplies, Yan Nanji felt that this was quite effective. With these supplies, they could not only survive for a long time, but also live very comfortably, especially after hearing Yan Xiaotian recount how Mo Bei had instantly killed Chow Menglong and others. Yan Nanji's goodwill towards Mo Bei increased even more. Mo Bei, with a small fortune, had acquired these supplies. We can survive for 2 or 3 years without any problems. Now we don't really lack supplies, Yan Nanji said with a smile. Mo Bei did shake his head. Supplies are a good thing. Who would think they are too few? Moreover, Mo Bei had his own plans for these supplies, not to mention. Within a radius of 10 kilometers, he wanted to get as many supplies as possible. He needed to use his abilities to fight. Working until sunset, Mo Bei had almost looted all the nearby warehouses and shopping malls. As for the others' lives and deaths, to be honest, it had nothing to do with him. In this special environment, he only needed to consider himself. The night on the continent was still fraught with danger, and now everyone knew it. Being rained on, they could only huddle in their rooms. Mo Bei's villa was different. The lights were brightly lit, and the aroma of roasted meat gradually spread. Under Mo Bei's supervision, a luxurious doomsday barbecue feast was being prepared in an orderly manner. The aroma of the roasted meat gradually permeated the entire villa area's air, attracting the attention of many people, and soon, an uninvited guest appeared in front of the villa. The person was a middle-aged man in a suit, a gentleman. I haven't eaten meat for a day. Can you give me some food? I'm begging you. Seeing the person, Yan Nanji immediately beamed with joy. This was his competitor. The created royal group, only slightly inferior to his Tianshan group, when he heard Mo Bei's account of the dark turmoil. Yan Nanji, believing in erring on the side of caution, began to reinforce the villa and sent people out to purchase food on a large scale. As a result, he was bumped into by this person and given a mocking session, saying he had lost his mind. The white-suited president doesn't go to the company to preside over the overall situation, but is stockpiling supplies here. Boss Huang should know. When I was in trouble, you mocked me, right? I'm really starving, sir. Please, considering the past, the president of the royal group would actually not have food. Don't joke with me. I really don't have food. Let alone your food is already eaten up. I can exchange for your things, I won't eat them for free. Speaking of exchange, Huang Jiaming took off his watch and handed it to Yan Nanji. Boss Huang should know. In this day and age, brand-name watches are worthless. There are also top-of-the-line luxury cars in the car park. And supercars, I can give them all to you. Yan Nanji looked at Mo Bei. Mo Bei, these supplies were all obtained by you. Now, what do you say we do? Mo Bei shook his head and smiled. Boss Yan, what do you think? Then don't give it, Yan Nanji smirked. He looked at Huang Jiaming again. Are you even human? Am I really going to see him die? At this moment, other bosses from other places also appeared at the scene one after another. Looking with longing, they were also in a state of being almost out of food and supplies. We are all human beings. How can you be so cold-blooded? Yan Nanji's muscles bulged, instantly transforming into a muscular minotaur, with hot air spewing from his nostrils. He let out a resounding roar. It exploded in the air, almost deafening everyone. No one dared to stay. They scattered like birds and beasts. At this moment, Yan Nanji suddenly sighed. I, Yan Nanji, built myself up from nothing. Most of the people here are almost all local wealthy merchants. When I started my business, they targeted me, and my company was almost forcibly acquired by them. I didn't expect that I would have a day to avenge myself. It's truly satisfying. Mo Bei just smiled at this, understanding the situation to some extent. After the little interlude, the barbecue feast continued, and everyone was enjoying the deliciousness of the grilled meat. Mo Bei, however, went upstairs to rest early. In the room, Mo Bei put his hands behind his head and began to think about the follow-up plan. Now that he had acquired the materials for the reinforced villa and had a rich supply of various resources, it was time to improve his own strength. In the villa's yard, everyone was cautiously savoring the hard-earned deliciousness. Yan Nanji approached Yan Xiaotian and asked, Xiaotian, tell your father the truth. Do you have any feelings for Mo Bei? Yan Xiaotian put down her wine glass. Her face flushed as she whispered, Dad, what are you saying? Did he have any interest in Mo Bei? How could he casually say such a thing? I think Mo Bei is a good lad, has strength and strategy. If you are interested in him, then take the opportunity to make the relationship a reality, so we can also find a chance for survival in this chaotic world. Actually, I also have a good feeling for Mo Bei. Yan Xiaotian hadn't finished speaking when Yan Nanji pushed her towards the villa. I'll take you to Mo Bei's room and make the relationship a reality sooner. Fix the relationship, Yan Nanji said with a serious expression. Yan Xiaotian. A trace of bewilderment flashed across her beautiful face, and just as Yan Xiaotian didn't know what to do, a Cadillac stopped in front of the villa gate. A young man with yellow hair got out of the car, and when he saw Yan Xiaotian, his face immediately showed a look of surprise. Seeing the newcomer, Yan Xiaotian immediately looked distressed. Yan Nanji also looked at the newcomer, his face gradually turning gloomy. He knew this yellow-haired man. Yan Xiaotian's suitor. Uncle Yan is here too, that's perfect. I am now a retail warrior. I came here this time specifically to confess to Xiaotian. I should be worthy of your precious daughter now, shouldn't I? Ignoring Yan Nanji, the increasingly dark emotions, Li Qingshan opened the trunk again and took out a few meager food cans from it, and they were all expired food cans. Come. Xiaotian and Yan Shu can both take these food samples, as my proposal to Xiaotian. How about it? 30-year contract, 30-year core. I'm not the same person I was back then. Yan Xiaotian turned her face away. Her eyes were a little red, but definitely not from being moved. Instead, she was angry. She felt very ashamed to be pursued by such a person. Yan Nanji stood in front of Yan Xiaotian, advising, you should calm down. After all, I am now a high-ranking retail warrior. If you are really angry, then hit me. I can let you hit me 3 times, as long as you can vent your anger. Yan Nanji was already on the verge of revenge. Hearing Li Qingshan's barrage, he couldn't take it anymore. The original shooter, who had turned back into Yan Nanji, transformed into a 3-meter-tall muscular minotaur, with a sense of power emanating from his whole body. If you can take my 3 punches, I will marry Xiao Tian to you. Seeing this scene, Li Qingshan, who had been full of confidence, was stunned. It turns out you're also a retail warrior, then let's do as you said. Take my 3 punches. If you can take my 3 punches, I will marry Xiao Tian to you. Yan Nanji gritted his teeth and said word by word, I am not a civilized person. A gentleman doesn't use violence. Since you don't welcome me, I'll just leave. Uncle Yan, I will treat Xiao Tian well. Xiao Tian is, after all, just an ordinary person. He won't be wronged if he follows me. I will definitely raise him to be plump and fair. Get out of here. Yan Nanji immediately lost it, picked up the barbecue grill beside him, and threw it at the Cadillac. Bang, the Cadillac was hit and deformed. Seeing the crash, Li Qingshan flashed in his heart, and ran away with a pile of expired cans. Yan Nanji only regretted that he hadn't eaten enough, otherwise he would have flown up and torn this brat to shreds. Seeing Li Qingshan leave, Yan Nanji returned to his normal form and looked at Yan Xiaotian and the crowd, saying, Xiaotian, about Mo Bei's matter, consider it yourself again. It's best to act sooner. Yan Xiaotian was not resistant to this, only nervous. Qingji nodded, saying that the physique of retail soldiers far exceeded that of ordinary humans. The same in that respect. Mo Bei's strength is so powerful, I don't know if I can handle it. But soon Yan Xiaotian cleared her head. He is known as the cold joke Yan Xiaotian. What kind of strange things is he thinking now? The reinforcement of the villa is completely finished, and now every corner of the villa, including the underground foundation, is wrapped in steel. Even a missile strike cannot break the villa's house. Even facing the siege of retail soldiers, the villa can be safe and sound. Mo Bei called the Yan family women over and said, now we need to quickly improve our level. The best way is to let them hunt those plainclothes demon hands, get their physique and their physique. The rest of us need to absorb a large number of gold boxes to prepare for the next step. Prepare for it, you can exchange the materials we have prepared with them. Under the apocalypse, strength is the only way. After the Yan family women listened, they followed Mo Bei's instructions to spread the news, which quickly caused a huge sensation. After all, under the apocalypse, having food is more important than anything. For the past few days, Yan Xiaotian looked worried and remembered her father's admonition. Mo Bei is excellent with strong strength. The key is that he is also handsome. Such a man, in the era of the dark turmoil, is definitely shining gold. As long as Mo Bei is willing, 7 rings of people are just a matter of time. No, I must act as soon as possible to cook the raw rice. And he has always been a high-profile joke of the planet, even with a cold face. Never lacks pursuers. Now let him take the initiative to confess to Mo Bei, and even take the initiative to cook the raw rice. He really has no clue. Just as Yan Xiaotian was lost in thought, several cars came outside the villa. Several figures were constantly letting him use his body. Several cars came outside the villa, and several figures got out of the car, carrying a few snakeskin bags. Inside was a gold box of beasts. Mo Bei had already seen the situation outside through the villa's monitoring. Went out directly and saw Mo Bei. These people behaved very honestly. This is absolutely a ruthless person. Don't misunderstand. We have no malice. We are here to exchange materials. These are all we hunted and received. The gold box that was obtained. Seeing that Mo Bei did not speak, several people pointed at the gold boxes in the snakeskin bags. Mo Bei took a rough look, so he retracted his gaze. Mo Bei had someone move some materials and exchange them for them, then took the gold boxes back to the villa. Back in the villa, Mo Bei gave Yan Xiaotian's parents a gold box each and let them absorb it. It's not that Mo Bei is stingy, it's because absorbing the gold box is, for ordinary retail soldiers, extremely energy-consuming. This gold box is enough for the two to absorb for a long time. During this time, the two also learned from Mo Bei about the role of the gold box. Knowing that this thing can improve the level, they started absorbing it without thinking. In contrast, Mo Bei picked up a gold box and put it in his palm, then a breath appeared in his palm, directly swallowing the gold box. A thin gold box was completely absorbed by Mo Bei. Seeing that Mo Bei had finished absorbing the 2 snakeskin bags of gold boxes, the father and daughter were stunned and completely forgotten. They are also retail soldiers. How can the gap be so big? It's simply a monster. And these days have been relatively uneventful. People come from time to time to exchange materials with gold boxes. In this regard, Mo Bei is not afraid anyway. There are enough materials in stock even if the entire Big Ru forces all came to exchange. They were completely unable to eat. Most of them were absorbed by themselves. Mo Bei's strength also increased to Juji, feeling the improvement of the body's strength. Mo Bei said to himself, but compared to the improvement of strength, I am more concerned about the opportunity of devouring. I don't know when the opportunity of devouring will be unlocked next time. The night falls. I don't know when the opportunity to devour will be unlocked next time, and the night quietly descends. I don't know when the next opportunity to devour will be unlocked, as night quietly descends. Mo Bei went back to his room early to rest. A soft footstep came from outside the door, and then the closed door was gently pushed open, revealing a slender figure wearing a nightgown. Slipped in through the crack in the door. Not to mention a thief. Was it an enemy coming to the door? Since it wasn't a thief, nor was it an enemy, who was sneaking into his room? Soon Mo Bei had an answer. It was Yen Xiaotian. As that slender figure tiptoed to the bed, Mo Bei could already smell Yen Xiaotian's faint body fragrance. Yen Xiaotian was no longer the arrogant, joking woman she usually was. In the darkness, she blushed and walked to the front of the bed and stood still. She kept adjusting her breathing, encouraging herself, but her heart was still about to jump out of her throat. After spending this time together, I do have a good impression of Mo Bei, and she saved our family. If she hadn't taken away that electric eel, both my father and I would have died. One should repay a life-saving grace with a spring of water. Then, she made a bold request that went against her original intention, and lifted the quilt beside Mo Bei, and lay down gently. Mo Bei, who was pretending to be asleep, was completely stunned. She thought Yen Xiaotian had ulterior motives towards her and wanted to take revenge. She had already prepared to fight, but the other party actually did this. What are you doing? As soon as Yen Xiaotian lay down, still suppressing her heartbeat, she suddenly heard Mo Bei's voice, and was frightened into a scream. Yen Xiaotian's face instantly turned red, from the start. But on second thought, since things had come to this point, how could she give up halfway? In Mo Bei's unprepared state, Yen Xiaotian suddenly turned over, deeply revealing Mo Bei, and before she could speak, warm lips blocked her mouth. That night, the moonlight quietly shone on the ground, but it couldn't shine into the burning heat and pity. On the fourth day, Mo Bei got up early, feeling refreshed. As for Yen Xiaotian, she didn't get up until almost noon, and her walking posture was also particularly unnatural. The atmosphere in the living room was a little awkward. Looking at her father, looking at her, wanting to find a crack in the ground to crawl into, Yen Nanji was actually overjoyed. Mo Bei suddenly spoke. Boss Yen, Mo Bei, you young people's affairs. The old man, can't control it and I don't want to control it. You can do as you see fit. By the way, Mo Bei, there were many people coming to exchange supplies this morning. Mo Bei nodded, opened the suitcase, and picked up the golden box inside, and began to absorb it. In a few minutes, the golden box was completely absorbed. Congratulations, your speed level has increased to level 10. You have obtained a chance to devour, unable to unlock speed, but can devour mutated plants and animals, and insects. But Mo Bei, for the time being, still doesn't know the effect of bloodline level, but these are not important. He obtained another chance to devour, and this time he could devour mutated plants, animals, and insects. The selection range was wider. Next step, he had to find that resurrection decoration. This set of equipment was extremely powerful, equivalent to having a second life, but it was quite difficult to find. Before the rebirth, this set of equipment was found by the angel Pang Dehai of Longhu Mountain, and he relied on this set of equipment to later become one of the top experts in Longua. The key was that his divination skills could find all kinds of treasures. That is to say, he now temporarily had two goals: to find a new devour target, to complete the devouring, and to find Pang Dehai, and let him follow him into the second lens. Thinking of this, Mo Bei then went out with Yen Xiaotian. In order to get the resurrection equipment in the ground, he must quickly bring the Longhu Mountain angel Pang Dehai under his command. The two left the villa and got into a red Ferrari and headed to Longhu Mountain, because this time they weren't going to. Yen Xiaotian also asked about the purpose of this trip. Since the other party was also one of their own, Mo Bei didn't hide it and told them about Pang Dehai's divination ability and the resurrection equipment in the second lens. He told everything. Yen Xiaotian was extremely shocked. Isn't this exactly a revival trick? Such equipment actually appears in reality, but when I think about it, the darkening has already broken out, and even plants, animals, and insects can mutate into monsters. Then it's not so shocking anymore? The road was smooth, and there were almost no other vehicles on the road. They drove smoothly and arrived at Longhu Mountain. Mo Bei wasn't in the mood to enjoy the scenery. He parked the car in front of the Taoist temple gate. As soon as they got out of the car, the gate of the Taoist temple was flown open. A fat man in a Taoist robe rubbed his sleepy eyes, yawning and walking out. We can use all kinds of supplies for the illusion incense, especially food. Then his body became abnormal and he charged towards Pang Dehai. Inside the door, what are you doing? 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 Mo Bei didn't talk nonsense either. It hurts. After some activity in a flash, Pang Dehai, rubbing his head, suddenly turned pale and knelt directly in front of Mo Bei. Spare me. I know I was wrong. I'll give you whatever you want. Stop hitting me. Yen Xiaotian blinked her big eyes, her eyes filled with confusion. Seeing the two of them stunned, Pang Dehai's eyes rolled, and he immediately ran towards the back. This madman is bullying honest people? The celestial master of Longhu Mountain. Although there are also cultivation techniques to strengthen the body, but these techniques are simply not comparable to the powerful constitution of Zero Beast warriors. The celestial master of Longhu Mountain is best at the art of divination. But he had just woken up and was only wearing a thin robe. He didn't bring any divination tools at all. When I get the divination tools, I'll beat you until you cry for your mother. After getting the divination tools, Pang Dehai immediately gained confidence, but in the next second, the smile on his face froze completely. Mo Bei directly wanted that divination tool. A feather shot out from behind, silently piercing through the high-level divination tool left by the celestial master. What is this? Now I'll say, I was just joking. Can you believe me? Mo Bei didn't say a word, just kept swinging his fists. Whether Pang Dehai could hold on or not, he must beat the other person to the core, and this beating lasted for half an hour. Pang Dehai couldn't shout anymore. His voice was completely hoarse. His body was also numb, and he gradually couldn't feel the pain. Can we stop fighting and talk properly? The second realm is about to open. I need you to work with me with the Zhanbu book. I'll compensate you with supplies. As soon as Mo Bei finished speaking, Yen Xiaotian immediately walked out of the Taoist temple and brought in a few large boxes from the Ferrari. You should have said this earlier. With so many supplies, I would have agreed immediately. Now that Mo Bei is willing to exchange for several boxes of supplies, he has no reason to refuse. This is the condition I can offer. If you agree to cooperate, that's the best. If you don't agree, then I'll beat you until you agree. Pang Dehai's mouth twitched at that moment, and his vision went black. This guy is definitely oversecreting male hormones, a proper supermale. If we disagree, we fight. Agreed. I agree. My Zhanbu book can indeed calculate some protected locations. I'll help you. I'll go find Yen Nanji first, and briefly explain the situation here. Time passed quickly until night. It was soon dinner time, and Pang Dehai also ate with Mo Bei and the others. Mo Bei was eating his food slowly on the side, but Pang Dehai was... Shouldn't he be given fewer small dishes on the plate? Watching his plate, he could still finish all the dishes on the table. It's about to be eaten up. Yen Nanji was a little surprised. This young man, isn't he Zhu Beiji reincarnated? Mo Bei's mouth twitched, and he suddenly doubted whether he had found a fat man who couldn't talk properly. Is he really a later generation? One of the top powerhouses in the Dragon Kingdom? Let's not worry about that for now. The revival machine equipment in the second realm. Still, this is Mo Bei's primary goal, and he still has one chance to devour something. The only thing to consider now is completing the current stage of devouring before the second realm opens. Mo Bei can now devour mutated plants, animals, and insects. In other words, he can grind. But which one should he devour to make the most of it? Just then, the TV in the living room suddenly broadcast an urgent report from the military. They were seeking help from residents of the city. A picture appeared on the TV, showing a scene from a certain laboratory in the research institute. A black cockroach about the size of a kitten was running around the laboratory. The laboratory was already in chaos. All the researchers, no matter what methods they used, could not do anything about this giant cockroach. The scene was chaotic. Some people used thermal weapons to fire, flames spewing out, and even automatic rifles were used. But the bullets hit the cockroach and were instantly bounced off by the black carapace, with sparks. I didn't expect that cockroaches could also become mutated beasts. The military actually went online for help. It seems they really can't do anything. Yen Nanji is in trouble. I didn't expect that cockroaches could also become mutated beasts. The military actually went online for help. It seems they really can't do anything. Fortunately, only plants, animals, and insects are mutating now. Microorganisms like bacteria have not yet mutated. Otherwise, if bacteria and microorganisms could also become mutated beasts, the blue star would instantly become a human purgatory. Mo Bei narrowed his eyes, suddenly stood up. Under the siege of thermal weapons and spirit beasts, it can still dodge. Is not simple. Perhaps I can devour it. I'm going to the laboratory. All of you stay in the villa. Don't go out casually. Wait for me to come back before discussing anything. Yan Nanji is in trouble. This guy is planning to go to the laboratory to help. I didn't expect the enemy to have such a ruthless streak. He actually has such kindness. As for Fat Dahai, he is as steady as a mountain. Still only focused on eating white rice. Go, we're all here. Mo Bei, you must come back safely. Mo Bei nodded. He patted the Ferrari and left the villa, heading straight for the first research institute. There are many places like research institutes in Longua, each of which is important for military skills. There are sentry posts nearby. Ordinary people will be warned if they get close, or even taken to the police station for questioning. But now, with the outbreak of the darkening, the old rules no longer apply. President, someone has come to support our institute. I've brought the person. A staff member led Mo Bei into an office and excitedly shouted to the figure in front. On the genuine leather sofa in the office, a graceful woman was sitting. She was wearing a white lab coat, revealing only a pair of fair and long legs. The woman was quite excited at first when she heard it, but when she saw that it was only Mo Bei, she was immediately disappointed. Only one person came? Yes, only this one person came. Shen Qiulan sighed, then got up and walked in front of Mo Bei. A faint fragrance wafted over. Mo Bei found that this woman was extremely beautiful. That's right, let me introduce myself. Shen Qiulan. Shen Qiulan extended her hand towards Mo Bei. Shen Qiulan. Mo Bei's expression was a bit strange. If I remember correctly, this Shen Qiulan is also an ability user. I am Mo Bei. First of all, I am very grateful that you are willing to come and help us, but this cockroach is definitely not an ordinary mutated beast. We estimate that it is only at the attacking level, but all the retail warriors in our laboratory can't even touch it. Since you are willing to come and help, I hope you can ensure your own safety. President Shen, let's stop talking nonsense. Since I dare to come here to help, I will never hold you back. Shen Qiulan personally took Mo Bei to the laboratory. The laboratory was in a mess. The walls, made of special materials, were riddled with holes. The scene was terrible. Many retail warriors from the institute were still working to deal with this mutated cockroach. This mutated cockroach, unharmed under the siege of everyone, suddenly stopped and charged towards Mo Bei. Damn, Mo Bei was stunned and cursed in the same hole. A giant cockroach half a meter long, with an extremely strange posture, pounced on you. Are you panicked? Mo Bei is now, not to mention so many people at the scene. He also has the beautiful President Shen Qiulan by his side. This cockroach happens to only pounce on him. Mo Bei didn't know the reason. Shen Qiulan beside him also reacted. But he is not a retail warrior and can't help at all. The scene was chaotic. Suddenly falling into an eerie silence, everyone simultaneously looked at Mo Bei, feeling that something was about to happen to him. After a brief moment of stunned silence, he immediately prepared to enter the Hua state. But just then, a scene that stunned everyone occurred. The plainclothes cockroach did not attack Mo Bei, but instead pounced in front of Mo Bei. Then it fell to the ground, and a jiji sound kept coming from it. It seemed like it was expressing its allegiance to Mo Bei. What's going on? Mo Bei scratched his head. Are you paying homage to me? The mutated cockroach let out a low growl, as if responding to Mo Bei, although he couldn't understand the meaning of this low growl. But Mo Bei could clearly see that the other party's posture was lowered even further. It was homage. Did the mutated cockroach really pay homage to him? What exactly was going on? The entire experimental force, including all the researchers, including Shen Qiulan, had their worldviews refreshed by this unbelievable relic. Dean Shen, it seems that everything is resolved. This mutated cockroach. I'll take it away first. A mutated beast that not only serves humans, and can understand human speech. As he left the experiment with the mutated cockroach, Mo Bei casually found a secluded corner. Can you understand what I'm saying? Mo Bei turned to look at the mutated cockroach, which let out a low growl and slightly nodded its flat head. As if responding, since you've surrendered to me, I'm going to devour you now. You have no objections? Jiji. The mutated cockroach let out a series of low growls. Then it turned and ran, its 8 legs moving so fast that afterimages appeared. It seemed that although the other party had surrendered to him, but it still retained its consciousness and wasn't a puppet without emotions. Mo Bei gently sighed. Then, he spread out his black wings behind him and directly entered the Hua state, 2 roots with lightning. The hair trigger mechanism shot out, and the mutated cockroach that was still running was covered in electricity. Mo Bei ignored it and flapped his wings to come in front of it. Then he lowered his head and took a bite at the mutated cockroach's head. Crunch. A few minutes later, the mutated cockroach was completely devoured. Congratulations to the host for successfully devouring the mutated cockroach. The gene sequence extraction was successful, and the host successfully evolved into a warrior, possessing a powerful dangerous infection ability. The name warrior is a bit strange, but compared to the name, he cares more about the dangerous infection ability brought by the new gene. The next moment, something suddenly appeared above his head, and it was blocked on the spot. So far, every time he devours a new gene sequence, his body will undergo corresponding changes. For example, the new pair of antennae, the black flaming wings on his back, and the electric wrist head on his fingertips. He didn't expect that after devouring the mutated cockroach this time, he actually grew a pair of cockroach antennae, and his senses were infinitely amplified. The slightest movement around him could not escape his perception. Suddenly, he felt a dangerous aura. Without time to think, his body quickly dodged to the side. Behind him, a big tree suddenly began to twist, and a 2.5-meter-long chameleon instantly appeared. Seeing this scene, he felt a moment of panic in his heart. The other party should have been hiding here all along. It's just that he didn't find it before. Seeing that he dodged his attack, the chameleon let out a roar. The chameleon charged towards him again, and he could not only see the opponent's slow movements but also accurately estimate the opponent's trajectory. At the same time, he put his palm on the chameleon's abdomen, and countless sharp teeth began to tear at the flesh and blood like a chainsaw. The chameleon let out a scream, and its internal organs were torn apart and instantly destroyed. It was killed on the spot in an instant. He looked at his blood-stained palm. It took him a long time to come back to his senses, followed by joy. It seemed that the effect of this pair of cockroach antennae was not to be underestimated. With this thing, he will have an absolute advantage when fighting his opponents. The whole world suddenly changed. The originally clear sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds, and a black beam of light shot straight into the clouds from a certain direction. At this moment, countless people in the world saw this spectacular scene. Before his rebirth, he was just an ordinary person, and all the benefits could only be seen but not touched. But now, he wants all these benefits. He hurriedly returned to another place, Xiaotian. Nanji and Pang Dehai, follow me. The opportunity has arrived. We must go there immediately to avoid being beaten to the scene by the other group. There were already quite a few people gathered there, and so many people here. Are they all retail warriors? That's right, at times like these, ordinary people wouldn't dare to come here. Everyone present is a retail warrior, that much is beyond doubt. After all, at this moment, ordinary people simply wouldn't dare to enter casually, but even retail warriors, no one dared to act rashly. Mo Bei said calmly, "We will encounter many dangers next. You must protect yourselves." Mo Bei gave a reminder, then glanced at Yan Xiaotian and the others, and took the lead in entering the patrol. Yan Xiaotian and Pang Dehai and the others followed closely behind, also diving in. Mo Bei and his party entered the patrol. The world before their eyes underwent a drastic change. A blood moon appeared in the sky above without any warning. "Fatty, this heavenly master of Longhu Mountain, show us what you've got." "Just watch, the Longhu Mountain never feared anyone." "Don't worry." Pang Dehai confidently patted his chest. "The knife is on me." Then he took out a compass from his arms, holding the compass in his left hand, and making a gesture with his right hand. He began to calculate. After a moment, Pang Dehai suddenly looked in one direction. "The greatest opportunity in this realm is in that direction. If we keep walking this way, we can find it." Mo Bei nodded, as expected of the heavenly master of Longhu Mountain. Indeed, he had some skills. He appeared in front of a giant altar. The altar was as large as a football field. The mist around the altar was actually dispersed by an invisible force. In the center of the altar was a high platform. The high platform was carved with many fine and complex patterns, exuding a strange aura. And directly above the high platform, 6 crucifixes were placed, and each crucifix was wearing a suit of armor. The armor was overall orange-black, with strange power surging on it. In the very center of the armor, a pale blue gemstone was inlaid, and the gemstone was also engraved with unknown complex patterns. "It's here, the greatest opportunity here is these armors on the crucifixes. Resurrection armor equipment." Really found it, without the slightest hesitation. The black wings on Mo Bei's back flapped, and he flew towards the high platform. But just then, a change suddenly occurred. A roar pierced through the silent night sky, and in the mist, a giant monster landed in front of the altar. Blocking Mo Bei's path, the monster's entire body was shrouded in mist, but one could still vaguely see its strong body. The monster was also holding a trident burning with blue flames. "It's the dark sacred forest." This monster in front of them also belonged to the Dark Sacred Forest. But it was not an ordinary Dark Sacred Forest, but an elite-level Dark Sacred Forest, and from the aura it exuded, it was not difficult to judge that its level had reached the ultimate. Mo Bei could feel that the opponent was actually a level 20 being. Sure enough, wanting to obtain this batch of resurrection armor, it wouldn't be that easy. There was actually such a powerful Dark Sacred Forest guarding it. But facing the obstruction of a level 20 Dark Sacred Forest, in his previous life, Pang Dehai, how did he get this batch of resurrection armor?